Welcome everybody back for some more Timberborn on the Island series. Once again, we're having a little issue with my mouse today. But in today's episode, we're going to get some iron stuff set up. I have just realized through a comment in the comment section down below that within the map editor, I planted oak trees. Yet the faction of the folktales have maples. So I can't even grow more oaks. At least I don't think I can. Oh no, I can. Interesting. That is interesting. Maybe I should be growing those. In how far can you reach? I'm gonna grow some of those. In that gap there. I didn't even know they could grow those. I thought they were only for the iron teeth, but apparently not. So in today's episode, we're going to be focusing on the section over here. I've already sort of set it up, and they've already collected a couple of bits of scrap metal. We do have 3 beavers out of work, but I have also listened to you guys in the comments, and I've set all of my inventor huts to the lowest priority, so they won't take up as many jobs as possible. And I've also put in some of these bigger water tanks and an extra water pumper, so we can get lots and lots and lots more water. But yes, in today's episode, we'll be focusing on the metal collection, well, the ruin collection over here. And I've got some stuff set up already for that to get started with. Now, we're going to need some of the smelters, which I am slightly worried about. I'm also going to move that. To over here. And put in some more of these, like so. You're going to store some berries, and you're going to store the potatoes. So I'm going to quickly let that get built up and get everything set up for the episode. We are also going into... Oh, I thought we were going into a drought for a second then, but obviously not. So I'll wait for everything to get built up, and then we'll talk about what is going to happen in today's episode. So, first things first, we need to start with some power. Now, we're going to have sort of like an offshore wind farm type of thing. So, first things first, we need to work out some spacings for these. So, I think, obviously, they need to be able to get to these. I think the spacing is, well, 2. So, for every 2 things, we're going to place another one in. I think we're going to do something like that for now. Obviously, this isn't going to work all the time because we will struggle with power from time to time. And this is going to take a very long time to build, but eventually it will be built. And then we're going to do a sort of like a down shaft on all of these. And I'm going to put in a 4-way thing because I'm not sure what I want to do in the future with these, because eventually they'll get upgraded to the bigger ones, but for now we'll just connect them all up like this. Like that, so they're all connected to this one side, and then we'll get that to turn like that. This one's going to have 3, and then something like that. And then over in this corner here, we're going to put the raised kind of sort of platform area like that. I'm not going to be able to have that, and that's going to be so we have to put a buoy in there, and then up there, and I'll just do 2 4-ways in there, and then also going to have to path under the water, just so all these can get built. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and prioritize the windmills a lot higher than all of the power connectors, just because I know that if I do the power connectors, it's going to go not so well. I'm also going to get them to build all of that too. But that should connect everything together, and it should give us a relatively high amount of power. You can also unlock the smelter. Obviously, this is quite a big building, and I'm planning on having like 2 in here. So I'm going to have to also move the path. See where it goes. Like that. It's not much of a bigger deal. It helps when you don't destroy something that is needed. So obviously this takes scrap metal, but it should be okay. Oh, the main problem with that was actually the wind turbine. I want like 2, maybe 3 over here, but that should be okay for now. Obviously they'll build the platform and stuff first, along with all of the windmills, and that should get our metal production underway. And obviously they are doing all this, but eventually it will future-proof everything for the underground ruins as well. Now I want to also, so obviously this is obviously the water windmill farm, but eventually we will be upgrading it to the bigger windmills, and then we can also connect it to gravity batteries. That will once again be up here, and then we've got a little smelter area here, but we'll also have one up here and one for here, but we'll also have that big sort of bridge in as well. So again, on this side of the map, I'm also going to put in a little offshore wind farm. Like I said, it's going to be for all of the factories. So we do something like something sort of similar size to what I've just built, maybe slightly bigger, because this is obviously going to be for the industrial side of things. Obviously, once again, path all the way around just so they can build it all. So you should be able to do now. Once again, we shall prioritize all of these. And then we'll connect it again. The down. Not going to work because there's a path. To be fair, we should be okay with the path not really being there. And so now we'll do it like that, and that should get built up pretty quickly, and then we can move over some of the power. What I'm actually planning on doing is maybe taking the power under the sort of along the back of the farm and then up here. And then we could put some more factories in here powered by the wind farm over here. But eventually we'll have all like underwater cables and stuff going around the map, which I think would be really cool to look at. So I'm going to wait for everything to build up, and I will see you when everything is constructed and ready. And a short while later, the offshore wind farm is constructed and ready to start producing power for the newly constructed smelter. Now, obviously, this is going to be very intermittent power. There is a lot of power here. It's like 1,176, as you can see up there. So it should work pretty well. I've just been slowly prioritizing some of the pipes and tubes and stuff. Obviously, there's going to be more power here, and it should quite easily power the smelter. I'm also going to actually, there's no point doing that. Actually, it might be. I've also put in a builder's hut and a hauling post just to get everything moved around the place a little bit better. I'm just going to put a lot of beavers in there now, and I've also added in another house over here. So that is the offshore wind farm done. Hopefully it does do exactly what I would like it to do, and then that allows us to get some metal blocks and stuff, which allows us to do the other thing that I'm really excited to do, because although yes, the beavers can do what they're doing now and going along paths in the water, I'd really like them to not use the water itself, if that makes sense. Like, I'd like them to be able to bridge over to these areas up here and this area up here using the big bridges which are here. Obviously, it's going to cost a lot of material and a lot of science there. So we're not really going to be able to get off the island here. I've allowed them to go in the water a little bit to access everything down here, but when it comes to getting up here, yes, like a staircase up the side, but I kind of want them to start using bridges and stuff, because I've never really played with bridges in this game. So far everything seems to be running smoothly. We are lacking planks and stuff like that, but the haulers are actually delivering the resources to these buildings. I'm actually going to pause the gear workshops because we don't actually need gears at the moment. That means they can go into the science huts and start producing quite a lot of science, which again are on the lowest priority. We also have an issue with the grills, and that is that we actually don't have enough storage for the food. So my plan for this is actually to make a larger storage system for the food. And I'm not sure where I'm going to put it. And I'm not sure I'm going to do it now because we've got plenty of food. But that does mean that we could pretend... What's that? Do that. So eventually they'll obviously start completing this, which I think is completely done now, and it produces 816 power when there's like no wind. When there's like hardly any wind, obviously it doesn't produce any power when there's no wind. But as soon as it gets to the morning, hopefully, fingers crossed, there will be some wind in here. That one's not even pathed up. So when the wind starts going, there should be plenty of power in here to get these running. Hopefully, anyway. We'll just wait a second. Yeah. So they're now currently working at 200 thing because there's like 1200 power going in, which is good because that means we can now start getting some metal blocks, which is really good. And I like the idea of these offshore wind farms because I just think they look really cool. And obviously we'll connect these all up to gravity batteries, and then we'll connect the one that's obviously going in over here, which we can now super high prioritize because it's the only thing that I would like them to be building, because then that will allow us to get some more industrial things going in the future. We're now, once again, in a drought, but the water situation should be absolutely fine. The only thing that we might struggle with in the future is not having enough water pumpers. So I think what I'm going to do is kind of future-proof that system by extending that down like that, and then placing in some more water pumpers. Just like so. That should quite easily increase the water production nicely. But it doesn't really matter at the moment because the water pumpers are going swell. So yeah, we'll put in some extra water pumpers down here. Should increase our water production quite nicely. Farm is going swell. Obviously, we actually have too much food, but that's always a good thing anyway. I've added in these extra buildings here just so we can have a little bit more builders and have a nice supply of haulers. And of course, I've completed the offshore wind farm, which powers the smelters at the moment. And then moving on over to the other side, obviously in between episodes, we will have a second offshore wind farm going in over here to, I think on this island here, I might actually extend this island a little bit. Yeah, I think I'm going to extend it so it's a little bit more of an actual kind of thing, just like that. And then we'll get these to be prioritized as well. And then we can start producing lots and lots and lots of resources on here. Obviously, these will just go straight up into another kind of thing like this. And then should be okay to build all of that because they should be able to get in to all those systems there. But that is something that will be completed for the next episode. In fact, we can start planning out some stuff in the next episode too. We'll get the path back in so that they can actually build it all. But this will be done during episodes, so yes. But that's all I've got time for today in the Island Series map. A lot of progress made. We've obviously got the offshore wind farm, and we're now getting metal. In fact, we have 19 metal, which is really helpful for when we want to start doing some building. Now, we got a lot of science as well, so we can actually start unlocking things. And I think some of the first things I want to start unlocking is the bridges. Obviously, it's going to cost a lot of science, but kind of need it because I don't want to put bots on this island in the center. I really want to start producing the bots up here and maybe up here. Water has not really been a problem for us at the moment, but once again, we can't start building the levees and the platforms and all that stuff because technically we can't get over to these bits over here yet. But as soon as we get the bridges in, we can start doing the staircases and being able to get over to these areas, and then we can start damming up these areas to allow us to get maximum water storage in these for the longer droughts. And obviously when we start thinking about a bunch of beavers died. But when we start thinking about the future and if we can start playing this map on hard mode, that is when it's going to get difficult. But I hope you guys did enjoy this episode, and I hope to see you guys next time. Goodbye.